Thank you for joining us for this episode of That's Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with VoiceMatters, and my ever-steady co-host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hi, Karen. It's another episode. Here we are.
Hello, Michelle. We are here. We are Steady Eddies. What's the female version of that? Is it Steady Edwinas? I don't know.
I'm sure we can think of something.
Yeah, for sure.
We're creative like that.
I'm so happy to be here. You know, the older you get, the more you celebrate every single day that you are waking up and jumping out of bed. Woohoo!
That's a good motivator. I will say it's true. It is true. I'm going to totally bobble this point because I forget the meme. It was something. Oh, I think it was a Marcus Aurelius quote, actually, something about something to look forward to each day. He was for an ancient dude. He has some timely advice. And I thought, yeah. I think I shared it with my thought of, okay, I'll tell myself this on Monday morning. Okay, Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah. We're live. We're here. And we are doing something that we love. We love this podcast. We love getting together and chatting.
That's true.
And just inviting a few of our friends to listen in with us.
Yes, so we hope you are ready. Today, we are spurred on by a couple of reports from Cision and MuckRack talking about the state of journalism today, which, as we all know, if you're listening, you may have already made a face of, ugh. Yeah. But hopefully we're just going to talk about this a little bit and try and bring out some of the brighter points to keep our tools sharpened.
Yeah. And, I think as both of these reports mentioned, the more that we understand the challenges that journalists are facing, the more that we understand how to be problem solvers for them. Because, obviously for communications professionals, journalists are definitely one of our audiences. And so It is important to learn how we can be more collaborative and more helpful. And there are a couple of points that really stood out for me that are troubling.
All right. We'll do the bad news first. Hit me with the first point.
Yeah. So the bad news is these studies show that there is less trust in CEOs as credible sources.
Yeah, that one stood out for me as well.
And, aligned with that, this makes sense that one of the biggest challenges for that journalists said, that they've experienced in the last 12 months, and this is from, I think, the Cision study, is that their challenge is maintaining credibility as a trusted news source. So you have them, battling against misinformation, this label of fake news, combating those accusations, and maintaining credibility, and then not trusting that we are helping with that at all. So that's concerning.
Yeah, and I could totally see why. I mean, there are the nefarious sorts out there who are all too happy to use credible news organizations to spread their misinformation and disinformation. And that's not to say that journalists don't fact check. Of course they do. But yeah, it's a really tenuous spot, which puts us, the PR pros, in a really difficult situation. Because
and I hate to say this because I know that, the majority of our audience, there are some that are, coming up in the profession and emerging. The majority of our audience knows this, but I think it's always good to remind ourselves too, because in the heat of the moment, when we get, we deal with a lot of things that journalists do not realize. There is pressure from clients. There are the demands that they don't see. There are the requests that we push back on. There are things that we educate about. But I think that it is critical today to educate our clients thoroughly about the role that the media actually does play. The media is not your part of your marketing team.
No.
And unfortunately, if you don't have something that can advance a story forward, adds value, presents something that the reporters, readers will be interested in hearing, you're going to have a harder time getting coverage in credible publications. So to be credible.
Right.
Don't see this as an opportunity to push forward the name of your company. I'm in the muck with the rest of you people. I understand the struggle is real, and I have beautiful clients, wonderful clients, as we all do, but we all know that sometimes it's really hard for companies to get out of their own way. You ask them a question and they immediately default to like company speak and the company line, and it's hard to say no one cares. Talk to me about beyond your company. Talk to me
Yeah.
about the issues that others in your industry are facing. Talk to me about the challenges your clients are facing. Give us a point of view of that. Give us some instruction. Help us the way forward. It is hard, but we've got to do the hard work because, and especially in the season, we are now in an election season, and we all know the battle for what is that?
Bandwidth?
The battle for the bandwidth of reporters is going to shrink.
Yeah.
But also in this season, more than ever, we've got to be part of the fight disinformation solution.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got to help news organizations to truly be valued again and to be seen as credible. And we can be a part of that by offering up valuable, credible information. It's rough out there.
It is. It is. But one of the tools or the brighter notions of these surveys, this is from MuckRack, is one way that our clients can help that cause, and rather than just casually think, oh, the media is just here to be my mouthpiece.
Yeah.
They said journalists as a whole plan to spend more time on YouTube, LinkedIn, and even TikTok. So as we've often said, every company has the potential to be their own media company by putting out your own information on your own channels. Well, journalists are planning on spending more time there, probably to learn more about you, maybe to vet you. So keep that in mind as a means of presenting supporting evidence or more deeper information as they consider whether to cover your story.
Yeah. And I mean, the MuckRack survey, I love this because I feel like, journalists, they can sometimes not be fair to us in the way that they view us, but they also get us,
Yeah.
I consider them part of our people. And this was really cool. When asked, about their optimism about their profession, 58% said that, yes, they were optimistic about the journalism profession. That's more than half. So that's good. 42% were not, but that's okay. Things will improve. And understand that they're impacted by the same things that are impacting everyone else. They're seeing shrinking ad revenues, which means shrinking resources for them, more pressure with less resources, less job certainty. Many are switching jobs. Many are, trying to find other ways that they can make a living at doing the thing that they love doing. So it's rough out there.
It really is. It really is. The more that the digital and print advertising landscape changes, the harder it is for all of us as a result, really. Even those of us in the communications field, those of us who do that kind of work with media buying, you're like, okay, I might be making this decision away from a print piece, but that means I'm creating my own trouble in the long term.
Yeah. And I know, just to, give you guys some positive ways that you can sort of combat this, clients are going to be clients. Make sure that you are setting a tone consistently because unfortunately you say things in the beginning and it flies out of people's heads. So you have to consistently set a tone that public relations is not confined to media relations. And so we also have to look for more robust ways to tell stories, to connect with our audiences. We have to be innovators and not just rule followers. We should be creating new paths forward. When it makes sense to work with the media, help them by having, publishable content. That is a game changer when you have good, meaty, publishable content.
Yeah.
Don't limit the things that you pitch to just your client's point of view. Reach into their client base, reach out to adjacent experts, and enrich a story with credible sources. If you have a healthcare client and you're talking about an issue, grab a medical expert and get a publishable quote from that expert to really provide more meat to that journalist and to help them not to have to hunt down other sources. Again, it's all about credibility and quality information. That's going to speak volumes. Do provide them with rich sources from your own expert. So rather than just provide a quote, I interview all of our internal experts, and I have always for years used Otter AI to record and transcribe those calls. Provide a transcript of the questions that you ask the experts, so that because the journalist may find other nuggets within there, don't be afraid to feed them a lot of things that can really help them to do their jobs. And, again, in this season, it's about being, creative. Maybe you add in an audiogram in addition to the things that you're sending. We love audiograms as
we
podcasts.
do. And it all comes down to what are you trying to do what are your clients trying to do, right? They're trying to present themselves as the solution to their target audience's problems. So rather than just blasting, here's our new thing. Okay, well, why does that matter? What pain points is that going to resolve? And this is true for PR and marketing, right? How are you going to enrich or better someone's existence, whether that's making their business more money, making their lives easier, solving a major issue in society? How are you contributing? And like Karen, like you just said, adding all those different layers. Plus, that helps the journalist. I mean, having something that well formed in story form, if I'm a journalist and I'm just presented with a few pitch points, okay, now you do it, or something that's crafted and really nearly ready to go, in today's landscape, which are you going to be more inclined to go for?
I completely agree. And don't be afraid to help on things that have nothing to do with you. You can help a journalist out and say, hey, I saw that you were working on a story. I know somebody that can be of help. And it doesn't have to be a client, jump in to help on things, check in with the journalists that you work with often and ask, what are they working on? Can you be of help? Can you be of assistance? And most importantly, let's all just always be respectful that we're all under the same pressures. Life is weird for every single one of us. Journalists are human beings who are also going through the same challenges as the rest of the world. So be kind and, make the most of their time. Their inboxes are overflowing too. As someone who gets pitched a lot, I have a heightened sensitivity how annoying it is to just have your inbox clogged up by things because people had an agenda that had nothing to do with you. It's annoying. And having it hit you in your email, in your social media inboxes, and having to go to all these places and read through a bunch of garbage can really, make you not a nice person. It's funny because Cami Heiza did a newsletter this week and she talked about, showing up in people's DMs and how she would have somebody who did that on LinkedIn. And she is the sweetest, but I was laughing because I completely get it. You want to just go off on people and say, did you even bother to read past sentence 1?
Right.
You're just showing up here like, hey, let me sell you this. Like, I don't want that.
No. And the worst is when you go on trust. I think this happened more so on Twitter back in the day. All right, I'll follow you. And you immediately get the DM, go buy my thing. I'm like, ugh, all right, goodbye, block, bye-bye.
Yeah, it's so again, be respectful, be kind, be judicious, and we really do have to be more thoughtful, more intentional in crafting those strategies for clients and make sure that they understand that PR does not solve every problem in the world. Make sure that you're attacking and being setting expectations appropriately about what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Very true. And I have to give a little demographic shout out to Generation X actually got mentioned in the MuckRack executive summary. That journalists are targeting both millennials and Gen X. They're their most commonly reported target audiences. I know it's sad, but it's just nice to be remembered because everyone seems to, between you and the silent generation and Gen X, it's like, hi, we're right here.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It is nice to be remembered because people really seem to forget that we exist. And the really sad part is people have misconceptions and they target generations, which I think can really be a mistake
I
because
agree.
there are characteristics that are not confined
No.
to generations. So
No. I'll never forget. It was a conference or something, and one of the keynote presenters was, I guess, the millennial mom was the target persona of the season, and all the things they were ticking off that she wants. And I just said to my friend, I said, "Well, Gen X wants that too. We just don't talk about it all the time. We're over here in the corner with our Billy Idol scowl, just getting it done."
that's something that maybe communication professionals can help open the eyes and eliminate the way that, sometimes you're targeting people that are tech savvy. That's not limited to an age group.
Goodness, no, it's not.
There are
No,
people that share those characteristics. And
yeah,
I don't know, we seasoned solos maybe can show them what's up because we are out here showing out and living our very best professional lives, and
so
the kids cannot keep up.
that's right. Well, you know what? Right there, I mean, there's a hook. Why are personas always attached to age and station in life? Ooh.
We need to change that. Life is changing. This is not
Exactly. Just because I
killed
took
over.
right, exactly. Just because I tick a certain bunch of numbers on your form doesn't mean that my experience matches everyone within that space.
Love it. Love it. Love that
Oof.
Ooh, love it.
I need a nap now. That was a lot. Well, we hope that this has been a valuable time for you. It's always good to check in just to see what the landscape is out there with our friends on the journalism side, and always to be considerate of how we do our jobs and in the way that we help our clients, but also that we help this ecosystem of journalism that we of course depend on to help us all thrive. So if you did find this valuable, we would love for you to share this around. Please share our podcast. We would just really appreciate it. We would make sure that somehow chocolate magically appears in your lives and all good things. And hit us up at soloprpro.com. But, sign up for the newsletter there, check us out, leave questions, comments. And until next time, thank you for listening to That Solo Life.